Armor Blitz, according to Steam, was developed by Red Wolves Studio, who is based in Argentina and only has one other game on Steam, and published by Lost Mesa Entertainment, which appears to be based in Utah, but I can't even find a website for them, and this appears to be the only game they've released. Steam gives Armor Blitz a release date of April 22nd, 2024, and today has a price of $6.99, which is what I paid for my copy. The history of the game may be more interesting than the game itself. In October of 1981, Mattel released Triple Action for the Intellivision. It contained 3 games that were inspired by Atari 2600 games: car racing, biplanes, and battle tanks. In a press release from October 2018 from Intellivision Entertainment, Triple Action was one of the many games listed to be reimagined for the Intellivision Amico, which was scheduled to come out on October 10th of 2020. Eventually, battle tanks and biplanes each became individual titles for the Amico, with battle tanks showing up unnamed in early form during their August 2019 Gamescom trailer, and then again with more polish in the Intellivision Amico special event August 5th, 2020 video, featuring Chad Lee of Lost Mesa Entertainment. On November 23rd, 2021, Battle Tanks was featured as the first Intellivision Amico deep dive video featuring one game at a time. But several problems occurred as Intellivision was called out for the game containing artwork that they did not have the rights to, specifically several of the tank models on the selection screen and the title screen, including one tank from the movie Fury that appeared in the game World of Tanks. Goose has done some great videos on this that I recommend. The original deep dive was pulled down and re-uploaded several times, including changing the name to Tank Battle, as the Battle Tank's name seemed to have been claimed by another company, and blurring the title screen and not showing the tank selection screen to take out any of the artwork that was used in the video that didn't belong to them. Despite Intellivision Entertainment raising millions of dollars mostly through crowdfunding, the system missed several launch dates. The CEO was replaced. A disastrous start engine campaign floundered and was canceled early in early 2022. Employees left or were let go, offices closed, and the original Intellivision Games IP and Intellivision brand were sold, with most of it going to Atari. The company rebranded to Amico Entertainment, launched the Amico Home mobile apps to play Amico games using Android devices and later Apple devices to act as the console, with separate apps used to turn other devices into controllers, along with overpriced games that are selling poorly to this day. In early 2024, on a private Discord, John Alvarado, one of the few remaining employees, stated that Battle Tanks was a candidate for Amico Home. However, in recent times, he has been silent on the game, even when it was recently discovered that it was already published on Steam. This leads me to believe that Amico Entertainment no longer has the rights to the game. And if what I've heard that has happened to other developers is accurate, I wouldn't be surprised if the devs for the game weren't fully paid for their work and went ahead and published it themselves. However, the game seems to be doing very poorly. Friend of the show Gatoroos used achievement stats to estimate that only 22 people have played the game before I bought it, and many of those could have been testers who didn't even pay for the game itself. The lack of activity also makes me wonder if the publisher was planning on doing more with the game, but has apparently abandoned it. When I play the game, on the bottom right of the title screen, it shows version 0.2, while the deep dive video showed version 0.3. This makes both versions sound unfinished, yet the published one, by appearances, seems to be the earlier version, although there are some clear differences between the two. Missing in Armor Blitz is all the artwork that was in question, replaced with the plain title screen and more generic tanks for the tank selection screens. Did the dev use an early version of the game that didn't contain the art to build upon and then release? I don't know. Also missing is one of the multiplayer game modes, Capture the Flag, where you and your opponent try to capture a flag on the other side of the playfield and return it past your line first. The curiosity of this omission is amplified by the fact that they show it in a screenshot on their Steam page for Armor Blitz. But there also seems to be some positive changes. On the deep dive video, they showed the ability to play 18 total missions, but here we have 50 missions separated into 5 campaigns of 10 missions each. When you start the game, it seems to automatically use your Steam name, with no ability to edit it or add extra profiles. You can then select from a selection of tanks, each with different stats for armor, speed, and damage. As you play the game, you earn XP for each tank you use, upgrading the stats as you level up. I started out using a wired Xbox 360 controller, which despite being labeled as partially supported worked just fine. With this setup, you move your tank with the left analog stick, use the right analog stick to aim, and use the right trigger button to fire, holding it down to charge a more powerful shot, and the left trigger to fire a secondary weapon. I later switched to the keyboard controls, using WASD to drive, the mouse to move a crosshair to aim, and using the left button to fire and your right button for your secondary weapon. The benefit of using the mouse is that the crosshair can be moved anywhere on the screen, where it's locked closer to you and your turret when you're using the controller. But be advised, even when you move your crosshair, you still need to wait for your turret to catch up. Near your tank is your life bar and icons for your weapons. Your primary gun starts with 3 available shots, but you'll need to wait for each shot to refill before using it again. Your secondary weapon recharges as well. Each mission takes place on a single fixed screen and can have various terrain, including breakable and unbreakable barriers, as well as certain objectives. Most of them require you to defeat all enemy tanks, which sometimes appear in waves. Sometimes an AI-controlled friendly tank will join you to assist. At other times, you'll need to either free captured friendly tanks or escort them to safety. Later on, enemy helicopters will join the fray. Every 10 missions, you face a boss tank. Complete the 10th mission, and you unlock a new selectable tank and new campaign. Lose 3 lives, or if a friendly tank you are supposed to protect is attacked and destroyed, you'll need to redo the mission. But that's not too difficult, as missions usually only take 2 or 3 minutes to complete. I was able to complete all 50 missions in just under 2 hours. Crates also appear during the missions that if you blow them up, they can contain various power-ups, like temporary invincibility, extra armor, extra health, rapid fire, rapid charging, laser shots that go through walls. You can also get new secondary weapons like landmines or C4, which you can place and then explode on command. When you find a new secondary weapon, you can select to equip it before future missions. You can also have a friend join you on missions, or you can play several multiplayer modes with up to 3 other players, using one of 20 maps, including one based on the original triple action battle tanks. These modes include death matches, team death matches, hardcore death matches where a single shot can destroy you, and a survival mode where your enemies keep coming in waves, adding an extra tank per wave. Options allow you to add extra enemies and helicopters to some of these multiplayer games. These games can be local or online, but since I never found anyone online, I can't even confirm if that works. If it did, you could use a code given to you after you set up a game to invite friends. As a matter of fact, the only comment on the community page at Steam was someone complaining that during the online play, bullets would freeze in the air, and that was posted quite a while ago. The game also features several achievements and an option menu where you could turn on or off the screen shake and on-screen health bars, adjust the controls, and adjust the volume of the music and the sound effects. If you finish all 50 missions, there is no ending, you just return to the previous menu. There are no credits and no mention to Intellivision anywhere. The graphics are pretty standard and the music has a stock music sound to it. So what do I think of Armor Blitz? It does feel a little unfinished, especially with no game ending or credits and no ability to add or edit profiles in the game. And while it was rare, a couple of times I had to restart missions in order to get them to work. The boss battles don't really feel like boss battles, and there's no one to play online with at this time. If the online feature even works, I just don't know. The enemy AI is also a little bit lacking, as they seem to change directions at fixed times and ignore both power-ups and mines, sometimes driving right into them. The game seems to increase the challenge by simply throwing more enemies at you, and sometimes it actually works. I'd rather face one smart enemy though than a swarm of dumb ones. And some of the biggest challenges came with keeping a friendly tank alive on missions that required it, cause they're kinda dumb too. And by the way, you can damage both you and your allies with your own weapons. I also wish the game allowed you to easily go into a windowed mode instead of being full screen all the time. But that's not to say the game doesn't have some good qualities. I enjoy twin stick games, and this game works well in that area, although having to wait for shots to get recharged does take some getting used to, especially when you're trying to aim at an opponent across the screen while maneuvering around barriers near you. I actually ended up liking the mouse and keyboard setup more, which surprised me as it helped me with aiming. The missions are also short enough that they don't overstay their welcome, and with 50 missions there's a decent amount of content. I will say that I wish there was a single player high score mode, like a dedicated single player survival mode with online leaderboards, to give me something else to do with the game now that I've completed all the missions. So can I recommend Armor Blitz? At this time, no. In the past, I reviewed some other games that were designed for the Amico but ended up on Steam, namely Astro Smash and Shark Shark. And even though I was more interested in those games when they were both announced, they both let me down when I played them, and I actually ended up enjoying playing Armor Blitz a lot more than those two, and Armor Blitz is less than half the price. But even though I did have some fun with Armor Blitz and the price isn't as bad as some other titles, it still feels a little unfinished and there's no one to play online with and there's no high score mode to keep me going. If it was a little more polished and maybe had people online to play with, or if the price was more like $2.99, I think then I could recommend it, but I just can't do it at this time. Armor Blitz is cheaper and more entertaining than some of the other former Intellivision Amico games that have been released, but could still use a little extra polish. But that's just what I think. What do you think? Has anyone else out there played this game or is thinking about trying it? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoy videos like this one and you want to support my work, please click like and subscribe, drop a comment below, and for Mega supporters, either become a channel member or sign up at patreon.com/NoSwordGamer. Thank you for giving me a little part of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time in the next episode of the No Sword Gamer. Take care, everybody.